Welcome to Great Neck Music Conservatory. I'm Nick Russo, one of the guitar slash mandolin slash banjo ukulele teachers here. And today we're going to demo some of the instruments. So this is a national guitar, but I have it tuned to standard tuning. So basically this is a regular guitar. And there's a bunch of different techniques that you can learn on the guitar. I always teach my students classical technique, and then later, if they want to use a pick, or if it calls for a plectrum or a pick, then we switch over. With classical technique, the right hand, what happens in beginning lessons is that the P, which is your thumb, rests on the string below, and then I and M alternate. So you can play one string with two fingers alternating, index and middle. And then the P, the thumb, can operate as a bass or as a lower voice. I think one thing to note is that I believe it's really important to learn healthy when you learn music, so either by ear and or standard notation. There's a lot of online tablature, and even some of the books that I've published and written and edited, there's tablature. So what that means is there's a 6-line graph of where the notes are. The advantage of standard notation, which is a 5-line staff, is that it's the same common language that all other instruments read from. So if you learn standard notation, it also has rhythm. With tablature, often there's no rhythm, especially when the rhythm's more complicated. So in your quest of studying, try to make sure that you're seeking out some pedagogy where you're learning standard notation. It's a 5-line staff, and what you do is you get a book such as Alfred's Basic Method 1 or How Lender Makes a Great Book. And in those studies, you can learn how to read on one string and then so forth. I'm going to also demonstrate some playing with a pick. With a pick or plectrum, you're holding it most often with your thumb and your index finger, and you can use it to either play single notes, or you can play chords. You can also combine the two techniques and use the pick as representative of the plectrum, or the thumb, the P, the thumb, and then you can use that as your bass line, and the other fingers can play the upper notes. The other instrument I want to go to next is called a tenor banjo. Tenor banjo is a higher range instrument as opposed to the 5-string banjo, and it's actually tuned in fifths. So we have a C, and it's played with a plectrum. C is on the bottom, then a G, then a D, then an A, much like a viola. And same tuning as a cello, but obviously higher. And the tenor banjo, just like a regular 5-string banjo, has a drum head which gives it its acoustic sound and projection. And you can play basically the same classical technique you learn on guitar you would use on the banjo on the left hand. So the fingers are placed, prepared, using your fingertips. You keep your fingers curved. And again, the pick can be used to play single notes or chords. The other instrument we want to talk about today is the ukulele. This is a baritone ukulele, and authentic tuning for the baritone ukulele is actually the top 4 strings of the guitar. So that would be an E on top, then a B, G, and D, going from highest to lowest. And again, I should add, all these instruments, the closer you are to the floor is the higher string. The closer you are to the ceiling is the lowest string. So actually going this way is going up the instrument towards the floor. So it's the opposite as what you would expect visually. But this ukulele, I actually tuned it to the authentic tuning of a soprano ukulele, which is actually tuned to a C major 6 chord. So you have a high G on the bottom of the instrument, which is actually string 4, then it goes down to a C, then to an E, and then to a G. So basically it's La, Sol, Mi, Sol, La, Do, Mi, Sol. And you can play it actually with fingerstyle, classical technique, or you can play with the plectrum. And the other instrument I want to talk about today is the mandolin. mandolin is an 8-stringed instrument, and they're in pairs. Much like the tenor banjo, you're also tuned in fifths, but this is actually tuned like a viola with the G on the bottom. So you have a G, a D, an A, and E. So the top string of a mandolin is actually the same as the top string of the guitar. And also mandolin is often played with a pick, and people associate mandolin with a lot of tremolo picking. So please feel free to email the store and drop in some time, and there's a lot of great teachers here, not just stringed instruments, but also there's piano teachers, a lot of great voice teachers, clarinet, woodwinds, brass, and as well as violin and viola teachers here. Thanks again for visiting Great Neck Music Conservatory. I'm Nick Russo. Thanks.